Last night in Chicago, Durk's day one friend, Glee, died, in case you missed it. Has anyone heard from Jam after he snitched on Durk? Was the comment that went viral as a result. He has been absent on the down low for months after being exposed as a snitch on DJ Vlad's show, despite the fact that other F gang members have been dying.
A guy named OTF Jam.
That was wired.
Very ironic name.
Jam
now
got
he
him
put
in a
everyone in a
jam.
jam.
Did 12 years.
12
got
years.
out, interviewed, said he kept it real, brought him cars, gave him 50,000.
Right.
This. Made mention that ain't no smut on his name. He ain't never been a rat. Caught a gun case, but eventually he flipped.
This occurrence led to headlines like of Jam was discovered by F members hiding out in a crib outside of Atlanta. Jam allegedly got a picture of the situation outside the house where he was staying, as well as a penalty for spying on Durk. However, Spray provided the police with proof that revealed more than 230, which is why no one has heard from him. They are now seeking to prosecute Durk with 2 additional murders in order to obtain greater charges because Jam supplied the evidence. Updates from the court state that the feds believe Durk paid to get these 2 people dealt with. Currently being processed for discovery are gigabytes of digital data, such as 20,000 pages of reports, audio recordings, and video surveillance. The first one is Stephen Mack, who had Durk's brother, Dang. The second is Jam's baby mama, who passed away when Durk found out that Jam had a wire on. Because Jam was observed whispering into Durk's ear during this Instagram live, the feds think that Jam is the key to having Durk imprisoned for all 3 crimes.
Check on your man, let him get his head. Hey. I ain't gonna lie, man. Hey, when I was growing up, I used to have a dare. Architect. Having a dare. Schools out of town.
But it turned out that Durk had been playing 3D chess the whole time before being arrested, so he knew that when Jam began acting oddly, he would comply.
From a mile away.
I don't think people realize that.
I could have a conversation with you for 5 seconds and know your is gonna cooperate.
However, went into further detail about it and how. In the year prior to his arrest, he denied anyone access to his house in an effort to limit the amount of information that others knew about him. Interview 226-309. In spite of this, Jam is the same person to whom Durk contributed $50,000 to celebrate his release from prison. And Jam proceeded to spy on the people in the background.
Nobody is ever allowed to my house. It be my best friend never been in my house.
For real?
I promise.
Your best friend?
Promise. Like, it's people like that I just don't allow around my girl and my kids. Cause it's like, I'm just a different type. I'm not the have family night at Durk house tonight. It's the
you gotta watch everybody at Durk's crib.
Yeah, we gotta everybody getting watched. We gotta watch everybody. Hey, they go too close to them kids. You know what to do. Like, that's how I play. Like, I don't play.
Following their investigation, the FBI found that the people in the background were the same suspects who had previously gone shopping with King Von and snatched Lil Pap.
Solitary
Hey,
stone.
big fan.
We just looked at him.
Good, man.
Let's go over there.
You got to be what up, bro?
Boss, you good? My boy.
Let's go.
Good.
They got real in here, man, because he just stepped in. The money man just stepped in.
30 minutes after Stephen Mack's death, prosecutors found this Instagram story of Durk calling for Dathang. The next day, they followed up with Durk laughing live to get further evidence of his death.
Case the other shit. What? Tweaking with folks. Hey, somebody always said, slap a car. Somebody always said, slap a car.
But as Durk's lawyers worked to get a date for his release from prison, they disregarded this. The important thing to keep in mind is that we got an update on the matter from his father, and he stated that Durk will be released on bail following 3 tries. The judge couldn't refuse the deal his lawyers made since it was so fantastic.
Just left the courtroom for the bond hearing for my son for the release for the third time. This time it was very fair. The judge was very fair. He wasn't pro-prosecutor, he wasn't pro-defense, but he was pro-justice. So he listened to all the evidence, and he's gonna give a ruling in the next few days about what his position is for the bond. But we were very pleased at how it turned out. So continue, family, friends, and fans, continue to keep us in your prayers, and we thank you. And inshallah, God willing, this be victorious for us, that we have a good ruling in our favor.
The federal government stated that in order to grant Durk freedom, he would need to declare bankruptcy and surrender all of his assets because they fear he may use his fortune to extort witnesses. After deliberating for 4 days, the court unfortunately rejected the bail on the grounds that Durk is too rich.
Bond for Lil Durk. Let me tell you about what options he has left and why the bond was denied this time. Now, he's in federal court on a murder for hire charge where he faces the possibility of life in prison. What that means is under the federal law, it is presumed that you do not get a bond because the charge and the penalty are so serious. So your lawyer has to go out there and show why you should get a bond. Now, ultimately, what the district judge decided to deny the bond on was a couple of factors. There's a couple $1 million being put up, but it's not all being put up by Durk. Some of it is from the label, and ultimately Durk has a lot more money and assets than what's being put up. So if I let him out on bond and he tries to flee, he's going to have tons of assets and money at his disposal.
A saying that went popular after Durk's bond was rejected was, "If you think Durk was denied bond because he's rich, you know nothing about this case." To the utter surprise of Durk's attorneys, Day's brother simply figured out everything. They chose not to make it public, but the evidence files leaked. And it was said that the recently released Ted body cam footage showed him begging to against members of Durk and F has changed the course of this case. Ted is also known as FD, so it's unknown what he said to the feds. Durk's lawyers spent a lot of time submitting paperwork for their bond bid. Ted, Durk's main hitman and Dez brother, is familiar with F's inner workings. Therefore, it was a shame when he was detained for carrying a pistol.
Really? Dude had a. What about that? A man had a with an extended clip. That's cool though, right?
And on the other hand, Ted gets out of the car while it is still being taken to the police station, sobbing as he tells the cops, "I swear I'll tell y'all about the murders," as he was afraid of spending time in jail.
Come on. Hey, stop it. Stop it.
But as Ted waits in his waiting cell, sobbing uncontrollably, he longs to just turn on murderers he knows and escape from prison.
Hold on, you gotta relax for me, because I can't understand it. Relax. What's the number? 7 what you saying, man? We're gonna see what we can do for you, alright? We're gonna see what we can do for you. You gotta relax for me.
Relax, man. I'm gonna get a bus to prison. Relax.
Give me No, I'm saying, what you talking about? I'm trying to get that.
After Ted was arrested, it also made more sense for D's last name to be placed as a witness in court documents because everyone knew that Ted, not D, was the one who was snitching. However, Bezu tried to take charge when it was rumored that King Von's cousin Voni was also
No one know what's going on, but them people that's in them courtrooms, man. For real, for real. Them be false accusations. Y'all don't even know what the be going on for real. Y'all really be trying to play Inspector Gadget and all this. Y'all just be weird as hell. That's what I be talking about, man. Like, first y'all threw the jams rumors out there. Now y'all talking about Vonnie a snitch, gang. A snitch on what? Y'all don't even really know what's going on for real. On my kids, y'all really just be running. And that's why I don't participate in nothing that got to do with nothing illegal. Because of you motherfuckers, y'all be trying to get them put under the jail.
DJ Academic's reference to Vanyu snitching created a great deal of doubt, which is where things start to get insane.
When you see Flacco post something, you almost gotta be like, look at this headline. Lil Durk found out his co-defendant OTF Vonnie, King Von cousin, filed for protective custody when they came to court. Okay. That sounds so crazy. This is why we have streams like this. This is, you know, I'm not gonna get on anybody or anything like that, and I'm not gonna ever say that I haven't, you know, maybe jumped the maybe once in a while, but I definitely do aim to be correct, and I never try to be incorrect out of malice, right? This is why we love to bring up the paperwork and try to explain it, and also increase everyone's knowledge on stuff, because a lot of times these days the headline is way better than the story.
As the prosecution started to analyze their evidence, Durk had one more opportunity to be led.
The allegation they backed away from, which is huge. It shows the weakening of the case. Previously, the prosecution had alleged that Durk paid the bounty for the through one of his co-defendants, and they named the co-defendant. Now they've backed off that allegation. They're not actually saying that Durk paid the bounty through the co-defendant or anyone else. And the fact that they're not saying that suggests that previously they thought they were going to be able to prove that he paid the bounty through this guy, and now they know we're not going to be able to prove that he paid the bounty through this guy.
The prosecution has had to admit that part of the lyric evidence they had against Durk was recorded before the murder even happened, which has weakened their...
The case is as follows. So there was an indictment that did not name him, right? It named others, and then there was an unindicted person. And then 3 weeks later, that indictment was what's called the first superseding indictment, and it does name him. The indictment was was identical, except the unnamed person now became Durk Banks. And this is the really important part, Ak. The second indictment, what's called the first superseding indictment, only had one new fact. It had one new fact, and that was it alleged that there was a video by Durk that celebrated and monetized this.
They are fighting the case until the finish, Durk said, and he refused to accept a plea deal now that things are looking a little better for him.
You know, likelihood of a plea. I think a lot of people have seen, like, this seems like it's a do or die thing. This is kind of like it's gonna be like a 1 or 0 type of situation. You're either are or you're not. Is Durk, from your understanding, or you as a lawyer right now, as his criminal attorney, are you open to possible conversations about plea deals? Are you thinking, no, we're going all the way? Would you entertain it, just entertain it, because that's your job to listen to it and maybe present it to Durk, or that's just off the table?
It's a conspiracy commitment case. It's an all or nothing case, and he did not participate in a conspiracy to commit. And so there is no alternative. It's a life sentence, potential life sentence. So this case is going to go to 12 people.
Durk utilizes music and the internet to express his First Amendment rights. But they are only going because of the First Amendment violation they are carrying in their back pocket.
The First Amendment argument here, right? That this violates the First Amendment. Can you talk about that?
Right, for sure. I mean, I'm expressing myself. I can say the things that I want to say in a rap record or any kind of record. And you could go back and there's country records, and there are pop records, and there are R&B records that talk about all kinds of things. It's just that there's this notion that with hip hop, quote, glorifying violence, that suddenly now we're going to use these things to prosecute them. But does that mean that the free speech, First Amendment has gone away? No, absolutely not. He can absolutely rap about what he wants to rap about, and that doesn't mean just because the story is...
Durk, however, has a compelling argument for being released from prison, according to lawyers who say he will receive the same treatment as Young Thug.
We've seen it happen quite a bit. I don't know that I'd say it's been persuasive. I think the biggest example we look at is Young Thug down in Atlanta. They took a lot of his lyrics, and even though technically speaking, ultimately they got a conviction, He actually walked out on time served. Most of the people that were prosecuted didn't end up being convicted. And I don't think anybody would call that prosecution a successful prosecution. And so, you've got freedom of speech issues. Does it mean that just because I'm saying something in a rap song, and it typically is a rap song, does that mean that I actually did something? And this is an extra interesting twist here, because Lil Durk's attorney is saying, well, this song was actually released months before.
Rap culture could be used to help Durk's case, but prosecutors aren't aware of it, the lawyer added.
And I'll go out on a limb and say that sometimes prosecutors don't necessarily understand hip-hop culture. It's almost like a text without context. So you got to really understand the time, the place, the audience. Sometimes they might speak in ways that seem direct to somebody that's outside of the culture, but doesn't necessarily, but can mean several things to someone inside the culture. So it would certainly be a flub, big time, right? But it wouldn't be the first time that such a thing has happened, where somebody looking through the window, particularly of hip hop culture, doesn't understand what's being said other than their desired use of it.
One thing, though, the feds are aware of: a lot of rappers are related to one another. This is because it was revealed at the time of Brick Baby's arrest that prosecutors had delayed Durk's bond release so they could gather evidence against him at the last minute for the hearing. Concurrently, there were whispers of a fresh informant in the courtroom since the same week that Big U, Brick Baby, Loose Cannon, and others were revealed. Brick Baby was taken into custody during a Roland 60s gang operation. Brick Baby may have been the reason the feds sought Durk for the crime, according to lawyers who believe he will turn on Durk. This is because, as we saw in Brick Baby's response to the old interview when Durk was arrested, Brick Baby said 3 years ago that you can't say Durk never slid for Vaughn because they got Pab.
But was this an attempted hit or
Well, they can't say that no more.
Then they put you as
Why?
God.
Like, who died? You can't say that no more. Oh, because of FBG Cash? Oh, who?
Federal charges in California.
Nah, because Lil Pab.
So this is about the...
Oh! What's that? But I'm just saying, they just say you can't say that no more.
But did you know Brick Baby also said something even worse? The feds brought up Durk's evidence of...
And yet, Brick, were you aware? Even worse, the feds showed me Durk's evidence that they owned an AT&T Go, which they connected to Brick. Baby said he would have provided Quando Rondo's whereabouts if Durk had asked.
Then it's people like, you lined up somebody from your hood. Like, listen, I didn't. But at the end of the day, what's wrong with giving my friend the address? Oh, this is my boy. He lost his boy. Who did it could be around. 9 times out of 10, had he had asked me, I probably would have been coke if he even asked anybody, if this is even true. But 9 times out of 10, like I said, can I leak a bar?
Sure.
I said if he make the call right now, I'd up it.
Right.